Hi, this is Mary Carol Thiel coming to you from sunny and warm Oshkosh, Wisconsin, merry-go-round cards. Thank you for joining me today. It's 54 degrees outside. That is warm for February in Wisconsin. So after this video, I'm going out for a walk. It'll be back in the 30s by the weekend. So I hope you all had a happy Valentine's Day, and I'm wondering what you did. You can comment down below and let me know. I'd love to hear. We went to the Sweetheart Breakfast at church, given by the Knights of Columbus, and we had steak and shrimp for supper, and exchanged gifts, and just had a really nice weekend together. So we're going to be ambitious today and make 4 cards. They're the cards that we made for last week's class using the Nature Symphony collection. I have to say, people really enjoyed these designs. There's a lot of room for personal expression while keeping within the bounds of the basic design. So this is the paper that we used. Grab that. Lots of fun things to show you today. So there's lots of blues and greens that make it very naturey. Now, I've used a lot of this paper. I might have to order another pack because I have a bunch more cards that I want to make out of it. So we've got that and pretty peacock. This is a couple like this left over. This has like writing on it, and that's crumb cake on the back. Pretty peacock. Cloud cover with pretty peacock, some more old olive, and garden green. And then there's one more sheet that I'll show you when we get to it because I've used it all up. So I'll have to show it to you. It's this background on this card. I'll show it to you again. It's called Nature's Walk. So stay tuned to find out how to get a free kit to make today's cards. I'll tell you how toward the end of the class. Before we get started, I want to remind you about upcoming classes. On the last Wednesday of the month, we do quick card kits at Planet Perk from 9:30 to 11:30 in the morning, and it's in a back room called the Aristocrats Room. And those we use the Stampin' Up! Kits that are, if you were searching on Stampin' Up! And put kit collection in the search bar, you could see all the different ones they have. I have about 10 to 12 of them that you can pick from when you get there, or if you want something that, a bigger selection, or to know you get the one that you want, go online and order it. Use me as your demonstrator. That's Mary Thiel, Thiel, and let me know you're planning to sign up. There'll be a link in the description below. You can sign up that way as well. So that's one kind of class I have. The other kind of class I have, we're going to use the Woolly Friends set. Now, I don't know which cards we're going to make exactly yet, but this is an example of some of the cards that use that set. So I think we'll for sure make this one and this one. I know we won't do that one. Might do that one. So it will be likely 4 cards. And those, that class will be February 25th. Nope, sorry, not February 25th, March 12th on a Thursday evening, or March 13th on a Friday morning in my home. There's a link to the registration in the description below. Okay, so I want to get started on these cards because there's 4 of them, and it's going to take a little bit of time. So the first one we're going to make is this one. And I prepared a bunch of parts ahead of time so that you can see how easily this goes together if you buy a kit. So this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, your basic card base, very vanilla. And then you would need 3 of these Pretty Peacock at 3 3/4 by 1 1/2. And you need 3 of this design of the DSP that I was showing you, and this is 3 1/2 by 1 1/4. So those get glued on. I'm going to put this one on the bottom. Always put the bottom and the top ones first, and then your middle one last. That way you don't end up with like this kind of a thing going on where you have a lot left over at the top or a lot left over at the bottom. You can kind of give it equal spacing on the top and the bottom and then center that one in the middle like that. So here we go. I didn't test out my glues ahead of time, so there we go, good. So put that on there, just centering it. And then I'll put all 3 of these on here, doing it just the way I told you how. See how little glue I use? That's a real beginner's hang up, is getting the amount of glue right. See, I'm not using much at all. I'm just kind of scribbling it on there. Not right at the edge, but close enough to the edge so when it squishes, it squishes. Doesn't squish out the edge. So I'm just kind of eyeing up the sides here. Oh, and I've got grid paper under here, so if I want, I can just look there and see that those are good. And that one's not really good, so let's straighten that out. There we go. And then you'll see I can put this right in the middle. See how pretty that paper is? Gorgeous. I love that Pretty Peacock and Lost Lagoon together. That old olive. Very nice. Okay. This corner seems to want to pop up for, so I'll just stick a little tiny bit under there. There. All right. So these are die cut and they're stamped and die cut from the Nature's Symphony set. So the bundle is the dies and the stamps. If you wanted to, you could almost skip the stamps and just buy the dies, because you could just die cut this out of Pretty Peacock and out of Old Olive. I stamp them and die cut them because I like the way that looks. So here's the die for this one. It's die cut out of Very Vanilla, stamped onto Very Vanilla, die cut out of Very Vanilla, and then also one with Pretty Peacock. Pretty Peacock on Very Vanilla, Old Olive on Very Vanilla. Am I going too fast that I can't keep track of what I'm saying? So I'm going to put this one on the bottom. I'm just going to put this flat. Now this set, or these particular card designs, give you a lot of leeway to do it your way without exactly following all the directions. So you can stick this on here just in any old position that you like. And I'm going to put it like that. And then this one I want sticking up a little bit. So you'll need some dimensionals for these. These are these little hexagon. These are the mini ones. Also use the big ones, we'll need glue. You'll need either a tape runner or tear and tape and glue dots to do this set. So I'm just going to put them on the ends there, and then down here I'll use glue. Oh, and I'll take these little guys off of here. Use my take your pick tool for that, because they're so little. Just take the backs off of them. They're like double-sided stickers kind of, and they're made out of foam, sticky on both sides. And I like these better than any of the ones that I used to buy, because, let's see, so how do I want that one? I'm going to put it like that. There you go. And then on this piece that I die cut out of Pretty Peacock, well, like that, I only need this little part of it right here. And I'm going to glue that flat. I'm just putting one little strip of glue down the middle of those leaves and putting it right there in the middle like that. Okay. I'm going to take some of this old olive twine. Now the old olive twine, it comes in a 2-pack with Early Espresso, and I noticed it's on the last chance list. So get it now. If you don't have it or you can't buy it, take some white twine and use a Stampin' Blends marker in old olive, and you can color it. You can actually color the twine. It works really well. And I'll put a bow, put that bow on with the mini glue dot. Mini glue. So kind of roll that up because the twine is not that big. And I'm just going to put it right there. Okay, I should have another piece in here, and I don't see it. For this happy birthday part right there. Well, we might have to come back to that. It'll probably show up while we're working here. A lot of cards, a lot of different things it calls for. And right now I'm looking for something else. 2 things in a row. All right, where are the little gems that go on here? My rule is, if you can't find something, start picking up, you'll find it. I was keeping them in with my that's where they are. They're hiding in there, in my adhesives. So see, this is like a lighter green. This is the old olive, and that's a Pretty Peacock. It's the same piece of paper. So you can make this card look a number of different ways. And these are the gems. They're called faux bronze pentagons. And these, I think these add a lot. So I'm just going to stick 3 of those on there. Odd numbers are always a good plan. And I think this bow is a little too long, so I'm going to cut that down. There we go. Put that back with the dimensionals. Same card, and I just need to get that little tag on there. This tag, this label is 3/4 of an inch by 2 1/4 inches. I used the rectangle from Textured Notes dies. but you don't have to. You can just measure. That's very vanilla, and that's pretty peacock ink there. We'll do that part if I find it. Okay, next card. It's going to be this blue one. So remember I showed you that blue paper? So you have your standard card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then you have a piece of the blue. We're using this lighter, the side with the lighter on it. Now, depending on how you place this, you can get a whole different effect on your card. So this one may turn out to look a little bit different than this one. On this one, okay, let me tell you the dimensions of these. This one is 3 3/4 by 5. And this one is just 1/8 of an inch smaller. So it's 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And it's going to go on top like that and give you just a tiny bit of a border around it. So this is formed by cutting your white piece and then die cutting that out from the middle of it. And then save this white piece because you're going to use that later on a different card. Okay, so let's check this out. Do we like it this way or this way? Or does it make a difference? Interesting. I think I like it this way. So before I glue this on, I'm going to take one of my stamps that comes in that Nature Symphony set, and I'm going to take my balmy blue ink. And I'm just going to give it a little texture. This is kind of like a wood grain kind of a look. I always stamp it on paper to start with, just to kind of get the feel of the stamp. To there, see how that second one went a little darker? Okay, so I'm partway off, partway on the card, and I'm going to vary it a bit. Now the second one, I'm going to do what's called stamping off. So I didn't put it back in the ink. I'm just stamping a second time. Now I'll put it back in the ink. And let's see. Overlapping it a little bit like that. Oh, I'll put one down here. And we'll stamp off. And I'll put one right in the middle here. Okay. You can do this afterwards if you forget. It'll just might go on your white a little bit on the side, but it's not going to affect your card, how nice your card looks. All right, so then we go to gluing. I think part of the deal with beginners is they go slow so that, you know, because they're not used to it. So in going slow, you get more ink or more glue comes out at a time. Move that out of the way. So then I want to center this. Okay. And then I'm going to take this one and put some glue on here. You don't really need to glue these parts in the middle here because it's most likely going to be covered up anyway. So I'm just sort of outlining it a little bit. All right. And I'll just have a little teeny border, like 1/8 of an inch on each side of it. So it looks different than what it really is, doesn't it? Would you have guessed that that's how this was made? All right. Okay. So we're really moving along here. All right. And on top then, I cut out the same one out of balmy blue paper. And I'm only going to use this big part of this one. So I'm going to cut the little part off. You can save all these other little parts and use them on something. And on this one, I'm going to give it a little variation using balmy blue ink and a blending brush just along the edges. So you can pounce if that's what you like. It's best if you start it off to the side, because if you have a lot of ink on there, you might get kind of a blob that you're not happy with. So I'm just going to kind of do the tips of these. Sometimes it takes a bit to get the ink going. I don't know if you can even tell there's a little bit of a difference there. All right, come on, come on. There we go. Now it's starting to show a little more. I'm a little light-handed. Maybe that's why I have no problem with doing small spots with the glue bottle. They do make fine tip glue bottles. We do sell those too, if that's your preference. Okay. And then that is going to go just glued on here. So a little glue on the back of just the leaves I'm just doing. And I'm going to put it right like that. Okay. You know, and if you wanted to, you could use a glue dot underneath some of those just to give it more dimension. Mine looks a little bit flat because I didn't do that, but you certainly can. All right, so I'm going to take a piece of ribbon here. And how big did I make this ribbon? I think it's 12 inches. This is not Seafoam, not Starry Night. It's called Secret Sea. And you can adjust this however you want. I also have a piece pre-cut from, get all my pieces out, from Crumb Cake. And maybe that's this piece right here. This is a log piece. So I think I'll do a little bit of blending brush on the edges of that with, oh, let's see, do I want Crumb Cake or do I want Early Espresso? I think I'm going to use Early Espresso this time. It's a little darker, and since, see how I'm using a different brush now? I have kind of a brush for each, oh, that is dark, okay, for each, so I'm just going to do the edges. Almost looks charred. for each, kind of like for the blues, and one for the reds, and one for the browns, and that's kind of how I have this going. All right, and then I'm going to take out my Night of Navy while I'm stamping here, and we'll stamp this little piece. There's a stamp in the set right here that says, "You make me smile." You could do "I like you lots," "To a great guy," or even "Thank you." And I'm going to do "You make me smile." I think that's a nice one for a thank you card. In the inside, I might stamp "Thank you" of some sort. Use the one right from there. Okay, stamping that on there. Doesn't even have to be straight because I'm going to fussy cut that. I'm just going to do the edge here like this. Remind me if I don't come across the sentiment strip for that first card we made, that little rectangle. I have another one. It's just on the other side of my double desk here. Try not to have too much stuff over here because it just gets in the way, but then sometimes you don't have what you wish you had, or you think of at the last minute like, oh darn. Okay, so here we go. Just kind of fussy cut around that whole thing. And I'm going to glue that on. I'm going to put this on first. So I'm going to take this piece of ribbon and I'm just going to go. Okay, see what I did? I just went back. So this is about a third of the way here. And then back the other way. And then I just sort of pushed them together, not crumpling them, just kind of pushing them. And I'm going to stick it. Let's see, I want it to go that way underneath. So I'm going to put it like that. And I'm just going to take a piece of Scotch tape, tape that down on the back. Nobody sees that Scotch tape, so no problem there. I'm going to close this ink pad from before. I don't think we're using this again. Okay, and then this one I will put up on dimensionals. I'll use a couple of big ones for this. There we go. And there we go. I don't even have fingernails much right now because I just cut them. So I pulled those off without even fingernails. Let's see, so how do I want that? Oh, that's a little not quite the way I wanted it. Let's just see if we can shimmy this a little bit. Okay, it's a little bit more of a bow than I wanted. There we go. I'll pull that. We'll pull this a little bit. Cut that at an angle. Cut this at an angle. All right. Oops. Did I do what I wanted to do? Now that it's caught on the card. I'm gonna need a new one of those. Heavens to Murgatroyd. Well, I've got it going off this direction, but that works just fine. I can do that. This is kind of a new thing for me, doing ribbons like this. I never have really done ribbons like this much. So doing it on air is kind of a stretch. Let's see. I'm going to put this a little bit more that way. Get another dimensional for this end. Usually I tie a bow, or I'll use string, twine. There we go. All right, that will work just fine. And then I'm going to glue this You Make Me Smile, using the log as the backdrop right there. Okay, and then you have these two little pieces that are cut from the same set. Night of Navy. And for those, I think I showed this on my last video, because they're so small, this is a good little trick. You just put a blob of glue on a silicone sheet, and we have these in our store. And then this is a basting brush that I bought at the Family Dollar, and then I just cut it shorter, and I'm just going to put this on my silicone mat there and just lightly pounce on the back, pick it up, and then tuck it in wherever I decide. So I'm going to put one there because that looked like a lot of white right there. And then Secret C would work too, since the ribbon is Secret C. And there's Night of Navy and Balmy Blue in this paper that shows through. So that's why this is Balmy Blue and this is Night of Navy. So there you go. How about that? You Make Me Smile. So that's the second card. And the third card has its own little tricks. This one is done on crumb cake paper, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Regular card base. And then this one is this entire size of this. So it's 4 1/4 by 5.5. And you want to keep the words going right side up. You can't really read this like a story. You can pick out words, but it's not going to make sense to try to read it. But it gives you that kind of that vintage sort of feel. This is for the inside of your card. Do whatever you want with that. So I'm going to show you a way to rip this so that you get this white edging on here. So you're going to hold the paper, and I'm doing this right-handed. So I'm holding the paper in my left hand, and then with my right hand, I'm going to rip toward myself. Okay, and see how I'm getting that white? If you're not getting that white, you're maybe trying to rip backwards, or you're trying to rip the left side. So it's hold it with your left, rip toward yourself with the right. Okay, and then I'm not trying to rip it straight. I'm trying to give it an old kind of a feel. So see how I've got that on right there, and I'm going to turn it around, do the same thing, hold it with my right, rip toward myself with the left, and try to give it a little bit of a not straight deal going on there. Okay, so we've got this piece, and we've got these two pieces. Now these two pieces, remember this is two-sided paper. This is what's on the back. So we want the back showing for the top and for the bottom. So I don't want this straight edge here. I want the ripped edge to show. So I'm going to put that under there, and I'm going to put the straight edge underneath there like that. Now there's a number of different ways you could go about gluing this together. You could turn it over and tape it, which is probably the easiest for most people, is just turn it over like this. Line up the edges so that the side of the paper and the side of the paper are straight. And then make sure you have taped by the edge there and taped by the edge there. And if you want, you could put a little one in the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to make sure that the straight edge won't be showing. See, I'll turn that over. You don't see the straight edge, do you? Okay, so the straight edge here. I'll put some tape on there. Okay. Now I want my words right side up, like that. When I glue it onto the front of the card, that's important. So I've left enough room here so that I can stick some glue on the end here. You wouldn't have to. You could also vintage up the edge a little bit with some crumb cake with your blending brush. As much or as little as you want. That's one of those things that you can kind of personalize. Is that a good word for that? Make sure my words are right side up. Got glue on my finger. Wipe it on my jeans. And then I'm going to leave just a little bit of crumb cake showing on the very top and some crumb cake showing on the very bottom. Lining up the edges. There we go. I can open up my card. If it is sticking off just a little bit on there, so I could cut that off. It's not very much though, hardly any at all. Now I have glue on my fingers and I didn't leave myself a wipe close by, so we'll just keep going. So for this one, the kit has this same leaf cut from a different design from that same paper, and I took this, you have two of these, so I cut this little part off of one of them. So I'm really only using 1.5. Not using that little piece there. And this paper is not crumb cake. See how this is different? You can use either one. This paper is a specialty paper that's listed right next to the Nature's Walk paper. It's called Natural Hues 12 by 12 Textured Specialty Paper. Cream, tan, and gold. So there's 3 different colors in here. I'm using the more gold one. I don't know if you can see that kind of bumpiness there. So you've got these 3 colors. This is probably the closest. Yeah, if you want to match, I'd use that one. I really like the gold on there. And I'm not going to use the crumb cake one. Same thing with this. You could use either the gold or the crumb cake. I'm using the crumb cake on here, and I'm going to use a little blender brush on it, on both of those, with that dark brown again, the early espresso. And like I said before, I'm not doing any on the green because the green is variegated enough. Hopefully I don't put my hand in that glue again, but I don't really have another spot for it. See how I have kind of a blob there? I might not want that much of a blob there. Do I like that color or do I want crumb cake? Well, I know I want that dark on here, and I know I don't want, see how I have a narrower strip there for the sentiment? I'm only going to use about 2/3 or 3/4 of this. I'm going to cut part of that off. And it's okay if it's not straight on the edge, because logs aren't like that, are they? They're not perfect. And I know I want the dark brown on the log. So we'll just give that a little bit of variation in color, because logs aren't just one color, right? And boy, it almost doesn't look like I used, it almost looks like I used pecan pie on the edges of this, but we're using early espresso. And we're not going to put a lot on. Ooh, that was darker than I wanted. Looks like that leaf is dying. Okay. Got quite a bit of variation on there. I like it. Now on this, there's two little ones with that really small die that are made out of Very Vanilla. And I'm going to do crumb cake on those. And I guess I'm using this brush, but I'm going to do this on it first. Maybe we won't do crumb cake, we'll just leave it. It's just so it's not stark when the rest of it is pretty. There's another one in here. There it is. You don't have to do it at all if you don't want to. You can leave it, and it will still be a beautiful card. I guarantee it. Okay. So then it's time to put this together, and I'm going to put the gold one down first. I think we forgot to put gems on the last card. We're going to go back and do that. We really add a lot. They don't always on a card. I don't always put gems on. But on certain cards and certain gems, really add. All right. So put that one down. And I don't necessarily try to keep it within these bounds here. I like it overlapping a bit so that it goes, it kind of crosses the boundary. I think that pulls, you know, I never took a lot of formal art, very little. Our high school didn't even have art classes. But I think in my eye, when you can attach things or things are touching each other, they look more unified. It looks like they belong together more. I don't know if that's a good way to say it, but okay. So I'm going to put one up here. And you can use dimensionals under these if you want. You do it however you want. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put it facing down like that. Okay. Now this little piece here, this is the banner punch, and you can get it with this banner sayings stamp set. You get both of them together and you get a 10% discount. So it's got all these different sentiments on here. You are loved, consider yourself hugged, wishing you good things, happy birthday, you did it, I'm here for you, thanks a million, I'm so grateful, you're the sweetest, I can't thank you enough, here's to you, cue the confetti, celebrate, and sending my love. And then you have 3 different choices of banners to stamp on there, and I'm choosing happy birthday because that's what I send the most out to. Don't you think these are good cards, like to send to a guy? I really do. Most, a lot of my cards end up with flowers or cute little things on them, but these really naturey ones, women like them and men like them. So just stamped happy birthday from that banner set on there. Glue it right here. So it's overlapping on the log. And then I'm going to put this behind it. I'm just going to loop it around. Tape it in the middle to the back. Just needs a little tape. And then dimensionals. You can see where I'm going with this. I hope this doesn't... I'm starting to have to go to the bathroom, so I might not get all 4 cards done. I'm so sorry if I don't. I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to put 3 of these on. They come in 2 different sizes, so you can mix up the sizes. Three of them works really well. Go put this one down here. There. I like that. So there's card number 3. Oh, I didn't put these on. So remember that glue that I was getting my hands in all over before? It's being silicone matte and a silicone brush like this, these can clean out really easily. When I used to do daycare, we used glue brushes. We had paint brushes that were just for the glue, but these clean out. And they're fun to pounce. So I'll have one that sticks up this way, and we'll put another one on. And we'll have it go that way. And I broke a leaf off, that's okay. There we go, card number 3. All right, card number 4. See, when I put the glue on here, at least I'm not getting it onto my work surface. So here's card number 4. This is like the most beautiful paper. I guarantee you'll use all, I won't guarantee it, but if you're a card maker, you'll use all of this paper. So we've got the white card base, the same size. This is just a 1/4 inch smaller, so it's 5 1/4 by 4. And then this is another 1/4 inch smaller, so it's 5 by 3 3/4. And this is the back of this, which I didn't get to use at all because I used the front so much. And I'm going to scrunch it up. And we're really going for that old-time feel here. You might even want to open it up and scrunch it again. Try not to rip it, though. I ripped it a little bit on that end. Okay. Well, that's okay. Ripped will be fine. Then I'm going to take a blending brush here, and I'm going to take some of this Pretty Peacock. And I'm going to brush on like these little raised parts so you can see the creases or notice the creases a lot more. Alrighty. Just adds a little something, something. Well, that's the way to do that. See what I'm doing there? I'm folding it even more for to get those edges. Okay, very nice. So this is a white card base. Checking out my fingers here. I'm getting a little fingerprint on the envelope. And before this piece goes on, you're going to put the cloud cover piece on. That's the piece that's 4 by 5 1/4, and that's just flat. Yeah, this glue, it's not like Elmer's glue. You know how in grade school you wanted to get like so much coverage with your glue so it would stick. Well, this kind of glue has less water in it, so it's a craft glue. All right, now to put this on, you can use either a tape runner or you can use some tear and tape because both are double-sided. And I'm just going to take a couple of strips here, put it in the middle, not all the way to the edges because this paper is not as big as the cloud cover. And I'm just going to stick it on there, like that. And pull up the edge, pull it up. And then I'm going to put this on, centering it sort of, kind of as best I can. I hope you're not seeing the top of my head. And there's definitely not a measured thing about it. Okay, more glue dots, because I don't want these flapping up like that. I want it to be down and not flat down everywhere, but I'm going to put them in the corners, maybe a few in the middle of the long edges, maybe by the rips. These card designs, actually came as part of a class that I took from a lady in New Zealand. Stampin' Up! Is a worldwide community of stampers, and you can get to know people from all over the country and in especially the English-speaking parts like England or Great Britain and Australia, New Zealand, and then also in Germany. There's German stamps, there's French stamps. So it's really fun. It's a fun community to be a part of. Okay, here we go. So you can, if you ever feel like you want to go deeper into Stampin' Up, let me know and I'll tell you all about it. All right, a few more things left to do here. I have no idea how we're doing for time because my watch broke. And we have a white one. And we have one in cloud cover. And I'm going to take my cloud cover ink. It's on the bottom of my stack over here. And, oh, there's a lot of ink on there. And I think that's probably pretty peacock. But I want cloud cover. So let's see. You can wash these brushes. Maybe someday I'll have more of them. So I can have more like dark blue, light blue kind of thing. All right, here we go. Because cloud cover it's really light. It's like a, well, you see what color it is. It's kind of like a gray blue. So it's sort of a light blue. And again, I just want to kind of get the edges. Just to give it a little change. Now, if you place a $30 order with me before I do my next video, which is probably in about a month, I will send you all the pieces to make these 4 cards. I can't send you any stamped images. That's a Stampin' Up! Policy. But as you can see, there are very few stamped images in here. Mostly, it is the sentiments. And I would recommend that banner sayings that I was showing you before with the punch. And this is where this really makes a difference on the white. Because who heard of ever all completely white leaves? There might be some, but there's some special hostas, I think, that are pretty white. But we're going to get some cloud cover in there. Doesn't this just look like the forest? That's what Dave said. He was at the class last week with his wife. And he thought it looked very much like a forest background. Okay. Pretty, pretty. I think I want just a little bit more on that guy. Oh, maybe a little bit on here too. Okay. And while I have that open, we're going to punch another frame out here. And I'm going to I think I'll put Happy Birthday on there again. I was thinking about Thanks a Million, but like I said, I send out a lot of birthday cards. So Thanks a Million, or Happy Birthday. There we go. Last time was brown. I have this chamois I can use that will clean it really good. These Stampin' chamois. a wipe. That's all you really have to do. Available from Stampin' Up. And we'll put happy birthday on there. Stamp it first over here. Oh, I don't want cloud cover. I want pretty peacock. It'll show up better. I will put all of the dimensions and the items, numbers, links to all the products that were used in these cards on my blog. So if you need those, look on my blog. This is February 16th, I think, today. So in this envelope or in your kit, you get some of these strings, these old olive strings, and these I think I'm only going to use 3. I used 5, but I think 3 is enough. Kind of get a little unruly, or can get unruly with 5. I'm just going to take a piece of tape, small piece so it doesn't end up showing, and just tape that down like that. No bow tying! Yay! I know some of you are saying, yay, no bow tying! All right, and I'm going to put this one down with that kind of that combination method of glue, and we're going to need that still, of glue and dimensionals. So it's going to have glue more toward the base of it. And dimensionals toward the top of it. Like that. Did you remember to put in what you did for Valentine's Day? Maybe you did nothing. That's okay. I hope you spoiled yourself. Maybe we'll put a little one on the skinnier parts here. Yeah, if you didn't celebrate it, or no one helped you celebrate it, you need to celebrate it yourself, even if it's late. Figure out something, whether it's taking extra time to read a book or something you don't usually get to eat that you enjoy, and do it. Okay, and we're going to put that one on like that. And I just used part of this. Here I went through the trouble of using the blending brushes on all of it, but I really don't need all of it. I just need this little part here. I'm going to put that right there. There's a few of these. That was a top. Okay. Put that one like that. I'm not going to do anything special with the wood on this one, except cut it a little smaller. And glue that down. right over those stems. So you don't even notice them. And then this part, we will put a couple of dimensionals under. And overlap the wood. Oh, I got glue on there. You know, I'm making it worse with my gluey finger. Never fear, the glue eraser is here. There we go. Nice. This is sticking up a little more than I want. So I'm going to put a glue dot or two under there. I went through a lot of glue dots with the class, making these cards. The class and the samples. You will have to have your own adhesives to make a card like this. And I'm going to cut these a little bit shorter. There we go. We'll put on these. Okay, just wherever I like them. There. See how they don't look exactly the same? Actually, this one has an optional piece in it. That is a stamped and die cut from this die that's stamped in cloud cover and added in like right there. But that's totally up to you. Okay, we did 4 cards. Amazing. Let me put them back out here. Getting lots more cards here. Okay, look at those, would you? You can look at those for a minute while I just tell you some other things that are going on with Stampin' Up! Right now. So there's product of the month. If you place an order for $75 any month, this is going on now. This is every month they're going to have a new product of the month. So this month's product of the month, I don't have it yet, but it's going to be some designer series paper that uses these colors. It's called Illustrated Illusions. Isn't that pretty? And they still have some left from last month and the month before. So if you prefer, last month was this Fabulous Sayings. You could get this instead of that paper, or you could get this blue paper. So $5 is great for a pack of, you know, for a stamp set, $5. And $75 is a good price point for your postage, too, to make your postage really worth it. And that one, this is Balmy Blue and Night of Navy. And that one. I think there's, oh, and that one. You get 3 each of 4 designs. So those are your choices for product of the month this month. If you want more than one of them, you can do it if you place 2 separate $75 orders. My store link and all my other information is located in the description below. And I want to thank everyone who's following my business page on Facebook. I only need 11 more followers to hit 100, and then I can do Facebook Lives. And my biggest hang up on doing more videos is getting them uploaded. So Facebook Lives will eliminate that problem. Remember, sharing is caring. So you're caring for me by following me, and you're also, if you share it, you're caring for other people that like you like this kind of content. Thank you for joining me. It's time for me to get to the bathroom and get on my walk. Like and share and all the good stuff. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Bye-bye.